Welcome back to This is VANCOLOUR. My name is Mo Amir. Now, the dangers of distracted driving cannot be overstated. Distracted driving is the second leading contributing cause in fatal automobile crashes. But what exactly is distracted driving? In an effort to educate the public, March being Distracted Driving Awareness Month, Surrey RCMP and even the Insurance Corporation of British Columbia, ICBC, have inadvertently spread misinformation about distracted driving rules. So here to clarify the law is my friend, one of BC's most high-profile criminal defense lawyers representing Acumen Law. She is Kyla Lee, and this is Kyla's Court. Kyla's Court is now in session. Kyla Lee presiding. Hello, Kyla.
Hi.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well.
So in this discussion about distracted driving and the awareness of distracted driving, I want to figure out what exactly is distracted driving. Because we know that, okay, if you're texting, you probably shouldn't be driving. But what are the rules for, say, eating a burger or fixing your makeup or reading a magazine while you're driving?
There are two different sections of the Motor Vehicle Act that really deal with distractions while driving.
Okay.
So when we think about distracted driving, typically we're thinking about using your electronic devices while driving. That's obviously one section, and that's the one that gets the most attention. Leave the phone alone. But on the other hand, we also have provisions of the Motor Vehicle Act that say that you have to drive with due care and attention, and that you can't drive without reasonable consideration for other road users. That's section 144, 1A, and 1B of the Motor Vehicle Act.
This seems really mushy. Like, I feel like it's up for interpretation.
It's totally up for interpretation, and it's meant to be up for interpretation because it's meant to cover a broad array of circumstances, like people who are distracted by things that are going on in their head and they're just not paying enough attention, kids screaming in the back seat, people who are distracted about work-related stress. Maybe you're lawfully using your cell phone, but the content of the call is distracting you. You're eating, you're doing your makeup, you're fixing your hair, you're shaving. All of these things fall within that definition.
So specifically, though, there seems to be only rules around using your electronic devices, not any rules around eating or reading or yelling at your kids in the back seat or anything like that.
No explicit rules, no. There are some explicit rules, like, for example, with eating, there's a provision of the Motor Vehicle Act that says that you can't have the controls of the vehicle obstructed. And we've seen people found guilty for doing
pizza box while I'm steering my car.
That has happened, or there was a case of somebody who was eating spinach with chopsticks while driving.
Fascinating.
Yeah, not lawful to do that.
This is incredible. And so ultimately, cops are making the decision as to whether or not you're distracted when we're not talking about the electronic devices.
Yes, and they look for sort of driving behavior that would lead them to conclude that you're distracted. We see this often being used in those more tragic circumstances, like cases where people are injured or seriously hurt.
So when we talk about electronic devices, there seems to be a lot of confusion around two specific scenarios. And so the first is, can your phone be loose in your car? Can it be in the cup holder? Can it be on the passenger seat? You're saying that they actually can be, but you can't use them, right?
Yes, as long as you're not touching the phone, your phone can be loose in your car. If you want to connect it to your charging cable before you start driving and throw it on your passenger seat, go right ahead. You're allowed to do that. What you can't do with the phone when it's not securely mounted is touch it to end, accept, or decline a call, or touch it for any other reason, which you can't do at all.
And this includes tucking it under your leg.
Yes, holding is defined very broadly. So resting it on your lap, tucking it under your leg, sticking it in your armpit, these are all considered holding the phone, even if you're not actually touching it with your hand.
Okay, fascinating. And then the second scenario where I think there was some confusion is an ICBC representative said that you could use your phone when stopped at a red light, which I thought was against the rules.
That's definitely against the law, yes.
Okay.
The misunderstanding came from the fact that the Motor Vehicle Act does allow you to use your phone when you're lawfully parked. And the misinterpretation is that because the vehicle is in park, if you put it in park, you can use it. But there was a case on this where somebody did that. They put it in park to use their phone at a red light, to use their Starbucks app. They were found guilty and they lost their appeal as well.
And to be clear, if your phone is properly mounted, you can only touch it once to do certain things, right? You can't actually text while the phone is mounted, right?
No, you're not allowed to text at all. Even technically, voice applications for texting are not allowed under the legislation. Yes, this is no more distracting than a phone call.
So Apple CarPlay allows you to do voice texts through your console. You're not touching your phone, but you're going through your console. Are you saying that that's technically not allowed?
Yes, the Motor Vehicle Act actually expressly prohibits texting or emailing while driving, even though now we can all do that very hands-free at all times. And this is because the law was drafted in 2010, and technology has advanced since then. So what our phones can do is not consistent with what the law allows us to do.
That's going to be mind-blowing for a lot of people. And I feel like at some point there's going to be a court challenge about this where someone was voice texting and maybe they got a ticket for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably difficult to prove a voice texting case. I've never seen one charged with voice texting or voice emailing, but it is possible. The other things you can't do is you can't tap the phone one time to change your GPS directions or to shuffle your playlist, but you are allowed to tap the phone one time, assuming it's properly mounted, to end, accept, or decline a call.
Whoa, okay. How can a police officer make that determination if the car is mounted and you're just touching it, though?
Well, usually when police are enforcing the law, they're not looking at people
if your
who are
phone
just...
is mounted, sorry. Did I say car?
You did.
My bad. Okay, sorry.
Usually when the police are enforcing the law, they're not looking at vehicles that are in motion. They're walking up and down lines of stopped traffic, and they're peering in the window, and they're watching you as you're tapping, and they can see what you're doing on your screen.
Interesting. And I just have to take their word for it. It's my word against theirs, whether I'm accepting a call or changing the GPS coordinates.
A lot of these cases do come down to a police officer's word against a person's. And you see a lot of defenses in some of the cases where like people say, oh no, I was just rubbing my wallet against my face because I really like the feel of leather on my skin. And the courts are like, I don't believe that. We all know what a cell phone looks like. We all know what the screens of cell phones look like when various common apps are being used. And they're so ubiquitous that police officers are generally accepted as being able to tell what is going on.
And so really quickly, we see the world of wearable technology evolving, whether it's smart watches. I know that there's smart glasses now out there too. And so doesn't this make it even more tricky? Whether, are you texting on your watch or are you doing something on your glasses that technically is an electronic device?
Yes, and the Motor Vehicle Act doesn't cover these scenarios. They only cover what is an electronic device.
So text on your Apple Watch, that's your legal advice.
No, don't text on your Apple Watch because texting is specifically prohibited. But, taking a photo with smart glasses or something, that's not very clear in the legislation. It's not clear whether wearing the glasses or wearing the watch counts as securely affixing it to your person, which is permitted. The law and the state of technology are so far apart from each other right now that we're in this constant state of confusion.
Well, I'm sure you're going to be on top of it and updating us as both technology and the law evolves. Kyla, thanks so much for your time tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Folks, she is one of the most prominent criminal defense lawyers in British Columbia, representing Acumen Law. She is Kyla Lee. Now stick around because after some business, we lost an hour of time this week, and I'm not thrilled about it. So I'm going to take a moment up next.